to be chosen today to speak to you about my story, and I hope it inspires you tomorrow when you just don't feel like running anymore. People my age generally haven't lived a lot of life, which my dad likes to constantly remind me. But when I was 8 years old, I had to grow up quickly. I hadn't even heard of ulcerative colitis before, nor had I ever felt the pain. So when I started to lose energy and get gruesome stomach aches every day, it was quite the scare. A year and a half before this, I had a parasite with similar symptoms, so I was prescribed with medicine to cure a parasite, which wasn't the problem, we soon figured out, when my issues only got worse. I'd just like to say it often shocks me to remember that all this happened over the course of about a month, because to me, it felt like an eternity. So after things continued to get worse, they scheduled me for an upper and lower GI, and I was officially diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. At this point, I was just entering the 3rd grade, and for me, a lot had changed that my classmates weren't aware of. First, that I had been diagnosed with a lifelong disease, and second, that I no longer looked the same, that I had gained 20 pounds because of medication. This was a cause for bullying. Boulder Belly and Chipmunk Cheeks were some of the lovely nicknames given to me, but I like to laugh about these nicknames today. Now back then, of course, the nicknames weren't humorous. Many kids also just simply looked at me funny, but I could feel the hate. I came home one day and I said to my mom, "Mom, kids are looking at me funny." And she said, "Would you like me to come to your class and tell them about how certain medications affect you?" And I said, "Well, you would have to have an assembly for the entire school." This broke her heart. Now ulcerative colitis hadn't just affected her daughter physically, but had taken its toll emotionally. I was very shy for years after this. I was no longer the athletic and energetic child I once was, but in 5th grade I became very interested in public speaking. I was given a job as a newscaster at my elementary school for my 5th grade year. As the year went on, I became better and better at telling a story and being confident while doing it. This became a turning point. In 6th grade, I was once again confident, but I had just one more problem to fix: being overweight. I never did lose that 20 extra pounds I put on in 3rd grade, and not just that, but I put on lots more. My GI doctor started to get worried and sent me to a weight doctor. At 12 years old, I had reached a peak of 174 pounds, and I was only 5'2". Something had to be done. So I started adding dieting and exercising to my life, and that's when I started my journey as a runner. I started by doing 5Ks, and then in February 2012, we went to IBD Day, which, by the way, if you don't know what IBD is, it is a great program that the money you've been raising actually helps fund. And it's basically a family education day when parents go to breakout sessions and learn about nutrition, exercise, and new research, while teens and children get to talk with other kids that have their same disease. At the time, I had never met another child with IBD, so it was a wonderful experience. At IBD Day, my mom stumbled upon the breakout session for a Teen Challenge. There she learned about the fundraising minimums and, of course, the running. When she left that session, she said to herself, "There is no way I can raise that much money, and there is absolutely no way I can run 13 miles. Well, since we are both here on our 4th Teen Challenge race, somebody, I changed her mind. I was a very persuasive child. I convinced her to go to one training, and that one training convinced us that this is where we belong, and that we need to stay until we find a cure." My mom doesn't know I'm doing this part, but can I have my mom stand up? I would just like to take a moment to tell everybody that my mom has been the best mom any child with ulcerative colitis could have. When I have a flare, she's always there, helping me and giving me the care I need. She provides support and love that means the world. As a Teen Challenge member, my mom is always fundraising and running in honor of me. She forfeits so much for me, and of course has to put up with the aches and pains of running, because she wants to do this for me. I love you, Mom. Can we just clap it up for all of the moms out there? Savers for us patients. Sometimes I feel like I really have one of the easier cases for colitis. When my mom is fundraising, she sometimes asks, "Well, if Olivia is in remission, then why do you continue to fundraise?" Well, there are 2 answers to that question, really. The first answer is that I do realize I'm pretty fortunate. Over the years, I've seen so many people that have problems far worse than mine. Ostomy is while I still have my colon, monthly injections when I just take 29 pills a week, and people who have endless battles with insurance companies.
The reason I keep fundraising, even when I'm okay, is because I know people have it far worse than myself, and I want to help them. This problem that IBD has caused doesn't just stop when I'm in remission. It stops when we are all in remission. The second answer is that when I do get a flare-up, my life literally comes to a stop. For 2 to 4 months, a flare stops everything I like to do in my life. For example, after my first Team Challenge race, I got hooked on running. I decided I wanted to start running competitively, and I joined cross country. Now, stress is a common trigger of flares for me, so when competitive running started to take a toll on me emotionally, because being a new runner who was only used to half marathons, I just wasn't great at that fast cross-country running. I was bedridden within 2 weeks. For my entire summer, I could do nothing but sit around and watch the Olympics, which as great as the Olympics are, I wanted my life back. No one should have to quit a sport because the stress of it made them sick, and no one should have to miss out on an entire summer because of a disease they cannot control. This is why later that year, I took the opportunity to make the CCFA the recipient of our annual walk at my school. One day at a National Junior Honor Society meeting, I found that by the power of my words, I could make a difference. When I found out that I had the opportunity to get my school to raise money for my disease, I was determined to do it. I gave a speech to my fellow peers about why our school should raise money for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, with 3 other people competing for their charities to be chosen. When it was my turn to speak, I had to think about what I wanted and how I was going to convince them that my cause was important. I thought of the most meaningful things I could, and then I got to speak. One thing I said that I'll always remember was this: one day I will have children, and what if I pass this gene to them? I wouldn't be able to stand watching my child go through what I've gone through. And that's why we need a cure. Everyone was very supportive. The room erupted with applause, and I felt accomplished. Then we had a vote, and the CCFA was almost a unanimous win. I had to later give a speech to my entire school. But I wasn't afraid of everyone knowing what I had. Why should I care if someone thought I was gross from my disease? I knew I was strong, and the negativity didn't frighten me. On the day of the walk, I felt so happy to do something to impact others like myself. We'd raised over $2,500 for the cause, I couldn't have asked for a better turnout. I have so far ran 3 races with Team Challenge and will be doing my 4th tomorrow. I often like to think back to the quote I once heard: "It's not how you have the disease, it's how you react to it." And this statement could be no more truthful. I react to my disease by making a better life out of it. I like to think about all the things that my disease has given me and all the opportunities I have had because of it. The opportunity to join Team Challenge, the opportunity to become passionate about something, and the opportunity to make a difference. I've made so many friends and done so many things I would have never done if not for my ulcerative colitis. There is truly a reason for everything in this world, and I believe that this disease was given to me to make me stronger. And I think this quote in Harry Potter is one that I follow the most. Happiness can be found in the darkest of times if only one remembers to turn on the lights. And joining Team Challenge was like finding that light switch. I'm so grateful to be able to talk to you all tonight. I've always wanted to be a pasta party speaker because I noticed that their stories always bring people together. When they're talking, everyone is like their family. And there's just this sense of caring and unity that makes us this huge team. And that's what I think Team Challenge is about: coming together, all having a common goal, and to run until we find a cure. Thank you.